Hi everyone, this is Daniel,
And I'm Jun,
and we are
Korean.
American. Hey Jin,
Hey Daniel.
morning.
Morning. It's
Bright,
our it's our usual
bright and early again.
Monday morning recordings. Yeah. I don't know if I love it or hate it. Like the shadow thing that's very like I don't know, it's like when cuz my house is east facing,
Okay,
동향.
was that desirable?
It's like not the best cuz
Okay,
like
okay.
Korean people prefer the
Oh,
south.
south, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So this is what happens if you live in an east-facing house. Like
In the morning.
the morning, yeah, it's like pretty bright. But I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's like a, log cabin, kind of like nature-esque,
Oh, if
light
you put
peeking
it that
through.
way, yeah, it is kind of like yeah. I love the scene of my living room. If
Yeah.
I the in the morning when I wake up, it's like very bright. Anyways,
Well, it's good to tell, okay, this was not on the agenda, but it probably helps you keep track of the seasons a bit, right? The passing of time and the changing of seasons. Normally, before it was really pitch black dark still when I got here, but now
was it?
it's getting brighter earlier and earlier.
That's true. We had to have our lights on,
Yeah,
which we do right now. But yeah, even like a couple like a month ago, right?
yeah,
We couldn't even go without the
yep,
lights.
yep, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I leave the house every morning at 7:15 or whatever,
yeah,
whether to drop off the kids and then come here or just drop off the kids and come home.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely the passage of time is very clear to me. I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
I noticed something else. This is more daily life-ish.
Of
I noticed
my
something else that
house,
makes me realize spring is coming.
the air quality.
Oh, going down?
Yeah. But I heard in the news that the air quality is very significantly better compared to the former
Oh,
years.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that, but it is getting worse now. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was noticing I think they're called chamses, like the little birdies.
Oh,
They're
really?
back. Yeah. They were gone for all of
Interesting.
the winter, but now I see them. I don't know what the right word is. Flitting around. Is that flitting? What do you call it what do you
Flocking
call it
around.
when birds fly short distances?
Did you lose a lot of your English?
I think it's called flitting. Okay, no, I definitely have lost flapping. That's not what I was going for. Anyway, yeah, all the little chumses, the small birds, are back flying around. It's very cute.
I haven't noticed any chances around the area.
They're all over.
Really?
Yeah, and then the trees are still
Do you know
naked.
that they used to sell it in like the 포장마차s?
You could buy a little bird.
No,
Oh.
they f- they bake it or like they fry it.
Oh no, you could eat them.
I mean, very back in the days, in
Yeah,
like the 80s.
that's so sad. They're
They
so
had it.
cute.
They had it in skewers.
No, I had no idea that was a thing. But no, I was saying the trees are still naked, so there's no leaves anywhere. And then my son was noticing, like, oh, I see a lot of birds' nests, so you can still see them very high up.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah, I think spring is coming
are you
quickly.
a spring person or an autumn person? I think I know the answer, but
I like both. I like autumn better myself.
yeah,
Yeah, but those are
suits
obviously
you.
my two favorite seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the temperature and like just weather-wise,
Yeah.
they're pretty much the same. I think to me,
Yeah.
but I like spring better
Yeah.
because it's like more of like the beginning of something vibe rather than ending something vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the
you like the ending.
melancholy,
Yeah,
nostalgia,
yeah,
things slowly dying off into winter.
suits you.
Holding on to the last rays of life rather than, half. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, that was random. But yeah, June, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty uneventful, but
Actually uneventful or?
actually uneventful compared to my normal other weekends. But I had like some. So my cat went to the vet,
Oh yeah.
long awaited
How's he doing?
teeth treatment. But I mean, we were thinking about like pulling off like majority of his teeth this time
Yeah.
because he has like his annual scaling
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
every year,
Yeah.
which is abnormal for cats to do. But he has like he has a chronic like gum condition
Yeah.
where like he has to get treated. But anyways, like we were, because like it was getting like worse and worse every year. So we were thinking about like doing like pulling the final thread like taking out most of his teeth,
Uh-huh.
but we decided with my vet like we wanted to do a more conservative approach.
Okay.
And it's like he pulled out three,
Uh,
but he's a
yeah.
trooper. He because the vet said that he wouldn't be in his normal condition for at
Uh-huh.
least 3 years. Sorry,
3 years.
3 days. But then like right after the day, he was like very animated.
Back to normal?
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good. And then I had my band practice
Uh-huh.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So it was eventful.
yeah. It's one of my social circles,
Yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah.
will.
Oh, good one. Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah. How
Um,
about you?
Very uneventful, to be honest. No, really, I don't. Did I leave the house on Saturday? I need to go back and look. I'm not sure I left the house on Saturday, but my wife had some time with. Oh, okay, okay. No, I remember now. Yeah, so Saturday, I don't think I left the house, but
Mm-hmm.
my wife was the one taking kids around to some play dates and some events.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just at home with the remainder of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, again, we just go to church. On the way back from church, we visited my grandma's house because my parents are flying back to the US tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
your grandma in Shingumo?
yeah, Shingomo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we just dropped by on the way home from church to just say goodbye and see them one last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My grandma had a bit of a fall, I think a week or two ago.
Oh no.
And at that age, she's
Yeah.
100 years old. It could be very serious.
Yeah.
She was in a lot of pain. I think she's doing much better now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's you always wonder, is this the last time you're going to see them? So
Mm.
it was meaningful just to have our kids. She can't see or hear very well at this point,
Mm.
but it's still good, I think, to have the kids see her and have her at least, touch their hands and
Mm.
call out their names, even though she can't hear the response very well.
Are you able to have at least like a normal conversation?
Her mind is still pretty clear.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very hard. You're literally almost screaming into her ear, but I think she
Ah.
can still hear and make it out.
I see.
So it's not an easy conversation, but you're still able to have a little bit of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Does she call you by your Korean name or English name?
Korean name. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
She knows all of our kids' names, all of their birthdays.
Mm.
I think it's her way of staying sharp. So she's constantly repeating not just my kids, but all of her great grandkids' names. Yeah.
Does she write your kid's name in Chinese characters?
She can't write. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, she
I
can't
don't.
write.
She can't see very well. So, but she just always says their names, says their birth dates, and yeah. So, and she's always asking like, "Oh, how are they good looking?" Like, "Oh, of course they're good looking." Like, oh, so even though she can't see.
I see.
But yeah, what I wanted to bring up, June, for my weekend though, on Sunday after church. So we go to I'd say pretty decently sized church, maybe on the bigger end. I don't know in Korea. I know Korea is the home of mega churches, etc. But it's one of the bigger, I think, English speaking churches in Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been going there for I don't know, maybe close to 2 years now.
You said it's in Yeouido, right?
Myeongdong.
Oh, Myeongdong,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. But we've never gone to like the smaller group. And again, if you're not familiar with church culture, you have like in Catholicism, it'd be mass. Like everyone goes to the big Sunday event or worship service, which might be an hour and a half, maybe up to 2 hours. And, that might be it for a lot of people. But for me, my whole life, a lot of my closest friends have always been in the like smaller group environment. So whether it's just, 5 to 10 people, maybe, and it's called like every church has a different way of calling it. Some people call it a cell group. It's a small group, community group. The church I go to currently calls it a life group. But this was the first time my wife and I finally decided to try to join one.
Oh, you haven't throughout the years.
For 5 years, June, we haven't been to like this small group environment because in the US, it was COVID.
I see.
Basically, since the start of COVID, social distancing, etc. And then through COVID, through moving to Korea, through the social, COVID restrictions and lockdown at the beginning of our time in Korea, and even after that opened up, having young kids is really it makes it almost impossible. I think a lot of parent friends have said the same thing. Like when your kids are young, it's so hard to be in these groups. And even when you're there, the time is so basically like frantic. You're just trying to take care of the kids and you can't really connect with other people. So the fact that we've had young kids too, plus in Korea, I think, it's in general inviting to people's homes culture. Like that culture doesn't exist as deeply. So I think it's harder to even find a space where you can meet together. But for whatever reason, it's been over 5 years since I think my wife and I have been a part of anything remotely, I think, resembling like a small group environment. And, you know, it just being there for an hour and it was frantic and it was our first meeting. We don't really know anyone yet, but we're at least introduced to them.
And they're all English speaking people, right?
All English speaking, you know, all English speaking Christian
Or
people.
how are you assigned to a specific group?
Yeah, we got invited this time. And I think, you know, we're really
So
grateful.
it's not by like age or...
So, of course, you can just sign up, say, I'd like to be a part of one. And then I'm sure they have some system to assign people and form a group that's going to, you know, kind of make sense.
So there must be hundreds of these in a church.
Not hundreds, I'd say. There's probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 of these, I'm guessing, in the church. Yeah.
Well, how many people? Wait, so you said like 5 to 10 people.
This our group, I think, is closer to 20.
20.
Yeah. Because it's mostly couples, and that's not true. There's couples and singles, but again, I don't know exact numbers. I estimate any given Sunday, there's like 300 to 400 people across 2 services. And not everyone participates in these small groups, right? Even though it's heavily encouraged.
I see.
But yeah, so I don't exactly know how they might assign people groups. I'm sure they have some system in place. But in this case, we were invited. And again, my wife and I are very grateful for the family that invited us into their group. Because otherwise, you know, even though my wife and I often talk about, we wish were in a small group environment, actually taking the steps to do so. And then the risk of joining a group, like complete strangers, you don't know a single person there. It's just kind of intimidating is not the right word. Even just thinking about that, it sounds tiring, right? Like putting so much time and investment into getting to know people that you're not even sure how it's going to go long term in the sense, right? It's just like a big upfront investment for very uncertain return, like to put it very technically, right?
Which proves that you are an I, in fact.
I'm very I, yeah. Actually, that's another side thing. Yeah, I should probably skip it. But I went down the MBTI rabbit hole just a bit because it's what do they call the cognitive functions? Not the INFP part, but the TI, the NE. Do you know those?
Oh, like the thing that goes after the
Yeah,
thing? I was never into
Okay.
that.
Everyone's like, well, you really need to understand that to understand who you are.
Yeah.
And looking at the side by side for INFP versus ENFP, 100% I. There's no question. Also, there's another funny. It's too many MBTI side notes. We were getting lunch with a couple that we don't know that well, but we were getting lunch with them because they're moving to America and they wanted to talk with us.
Last weekend or?
Maybe 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
But anyway, about halfway through the conversation, the girls are, you know, my wife's talking with the mother and I'm talking with the husband. And then, you know, maybe 10 minutes in, I just stopped talking. And then he goes, "You're an I, aren't you?" And then I was like, yes, validation. But anyway, that's a tangent. So, okay. Yeah, just June. Just being in this community group, again, it was a frantic 1 hour. But I actually cried because I shared how meaningful it was just to even take this first step to be a part of this group again. And it made me realize how much I really had missed and needed, in a sense, this smaller group community environment. And yeah, so June, that brings us to the topic I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
And
It's a long-awaited one.
This one feels like a throwback for me because this episode in general, because this is what our episodes used to be like in the beginning. Like, I feel like I had a big major epiphany, at least for me personally. And I wanted to share it with you, get your thoughts on it, and then, you know, share it with our podcast listeners too. But today, June, I wanted to talk about a bit more about social circles.
Yeah.
But in particular, I'm going to call it communities. And what does a community look like in Korea? And maybe just to lead, I don't know if I should or not. But my main thesis, June, is in America, people form communities. But in Korea, people form cliques.
Cliques?
Cliques. Do you know what a clique is?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what the Merriam-Webster definition of clique is. But yeah, okay, I'll just go into it. I think
Cliques as in like cliques.
CLIQUE. Yeah.
Oh.
So maybe you can look up the Korean translation for that word.
ChatGPT says, 파벌, 무리, 집단, 끼리끼리 문화, 패거리, 그들만의 리그. Okay. I get the sense.
You get the sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Or when you say those words, what's the connotation? Is there a connotation
It's
to
a
them?
negative connotation.
It's a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I would
neutral
agree.
to negative, I want to say.
I would agree that's true in the US as well.
Yeah.
So at least it's getting to it's the right spirit of what I'm trying to say. But okay, let me just start there then. Okay, what's the good Korean word for community? Just a group of people that have a common interest or bond.
Community 모임 is like the most
Uh,
broader and neutral term. 모임.
okay. Isn't that specifically referring to the gathering of people, not the members that are in that group?
I think it could be extended out to a
Okay.
more broader term. Yeah.
Would Koreans be offended, or does that resonate with you when I say Americans form communities, but Koreans form cliques? Because those words are all neutral to negative. Do you think Koreans would either be offended or not agree with what I just said?
You know that Koreans get offended by anything that
Anything
is
I say, for sure, they'll get offended
yeah.
by. June, how about you personally? Is this something that you think resonates with you, or?
Oh, I've never thought about it this way.
Mm,
There are certain aspects that I can understand why you felt this way.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like completely like, oh, like you
Okay.
totally misunderstood or whatever.
I do. Oh, but you're also not the other way, which is like, yes, this is totally accurate in Korean society.
Well, I have to understand more why you thought
Okay,
this way.
okay.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get into it, June, because this for me is a huge epiphany and makes me feel, yeah, at least for me, it helps explain a lot of things. And I think it's going to tie a lot of things in together.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to talk about this with you. I guess let me just start by defining community and some characteristics of community. I would just say, it's a collection of people where they do share, let's say, one common thing. They have one thing that they share in common. But I do think it's very important in communities that everyone feels like they can be themselves. It's a safe space. I think they're free to join or leave as they feel. And overall, it's very kind of egalitarian. Like we're just all here together, right? Of course, and I think in my life, it's these social circles. It's always around these communities, right? We might have one thing in common, but it never feels exclusive. It always feels like very open, and you can bring people along, bring a friend. Like you don't have to like think about it that much. And in general, it's very. I wouldn't say it's encouraged per se, but it's very understood that these can just grow, right? Whether it's your neighborhood friends that you hang out with and just like run around, ride bikes with, play basketball with, whatever. Whether it's your high school community or your college or your church community, or it's like some athletic group, some club you're a part of, right? They just can kind of grow. And I think when I think of a clique, right, the things that are different is they tend to be smaller and they're very exclusive in a
Yeah.
sense. Like you have to be admitted and all the other members almost have to approve of you joining.
Yeah.
It's a very like in versus out, like either you're in and you're with us, in which case like we have your back forever.
Yeah.
But if you're out, then you're out. We don't care about you, right? And it's like this very clear boundary between in and out. And I'd say cliques also, in my mind, have some sort of hierarchy. Maybe your classic clique would have like a queen bee type who maybe determines who's in or out, or who,
It's kind of like a frat, isn't it?
yeah, frats.
Would you define a frat as a
Ooh,
community or
yeah.
a clique?
See, this is interesting because one of the things I want to get to at the end is how can we have like some mix or balance of these two things? Because I
Yeah.
see the benefits of both. A frat, I would honestly say, falls somewhere in between.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to like apply. They have to accept you. Yeah, maybe it's more cliquish than community oriented. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The thing that gave me pause is I don't think frats have a very strong hierarchy. Of course, there's like before you're in, you're like at a lower status. But I think once you're in, it feels more egalitarian once you're in. Maybe that's wrong. I was never in a frat. So I don't know if the upperclassmen can still order you around for your entire time there.
Wait, isn't that the core definition of what a frat is, kind of? I mean, it's like a brotherhood kind of thing, but there is like this hierarchy, I think.
Yeah,
I feel like
if that's true and if it's strong and remains
they
even
do
after
like
you're
the
in.
hazing.
See, the hazing part I think is before you're in. And once you're in, I don't know if that continues.
I see.
So if it does, then I would say yes, a frat is a very classic clique.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think, what was the game in Squid Game where everyone's in the middle, they're playing music, and when the music stops, they call a number.
Yeah, musical chairs, kind of.
Yeah, but there's like, what's the Korean name for this game?
Or was it 둥글게 둥글게?
Yeah, I think that.
I actually don't know.
There's no good name
That's
for
the
it.
title of the song. I don't know if that the game matched the title of the song.
Yeah. But that's the feeling I get in Korea a bit. It's like, okay, let's say you're in like let's say you're meeting all the other parents. Like there's a gathering of the parents for your kids and their classmates, right? It's like you're all joining together, but when the music stops, you have to form a group. If you don't find one, you don't want to risk being on the outside and having no group. And so it feels like they just form these smaller groups very quickly. And again, my sense is that of course you're gonna have these smaller, closer one-off friendships within a big group. That's always a given. But by default, the nature of like a parents group or whatever, it feels very much more open and inclusive to people joining, participating, attending events, right? And yeah, I think I might have explained this before or mentioned this before. Like there's a big open thread, Kakao open chat for all of the parents in like my kids, let's say grades. Like so all fourth grade parents are in this group. And I oftentimes just like throw out things like, oh, I'm going to be at this place. Like if anyone wants to join, please join.
Yeah.
I've never gotten a response to this. Where I promise you in the US, it would be way more open. And like once what I do, like some parents saying like, oh, I'm going to be here, open invite. That's not like a rare thing. Like everyone's doing it, right? And it's almost just this way of like creating space for people to come and feel included in things. But yeah, I don't think this behavior is common or accepted or understood, or for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out. Oh, I remember when I brought this up, June. I think I said one of my goals for 2025 personally is to create more community.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's something I realized I was really looking for. So anyway, I'm gonna stop there for now and just get your initial take on this. But I really am curious because I think even when I watch K-dramas in high school and middle school, like having these very tight social groups where it's just like 2 or 3 kids together and not like that much blending across. Oh, that's another very important part of communities versus cliques. Communities, like you can be a part of many different communities, even within like a group of people, if that makes sense. But cliques, it's very, you can only be in one, I think is very important. But yeah, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this and what resonates and what doesn't.
My immediate reaction when you first described what a clique is and what a community is, I think I did resonate with that. Especially about the fact that it's more, I think communities are more outbound and then cliques are more inbound and exclusive, right?
Yeah.
My immediate reaction is that, yes, I do think it's true. I think it has to do with like the very premise of a community is you want to find people who you find common ground with, right? And maybe this goes back to like, I think this weirdly relates to the fact that one of the observations that you made about how Korean people are very observant with your facial expression.
Yeah.
And I think one of our conclusions is because we all look pretty much the same, and therefore you're more detailed and delicate in reading the very fine nuances.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it has something to do with that because everyone's pretty much the same. And if you expand that into like a very vague common ground, it becomes too much of a big community. And therefore, like I think Korean people might be more delicate and detailed in finding what a common ground is. A classic example is even like, you know how they're like the quote unquote 단톡방s, right? The group chats in Kakao. It's very common that it just naturally forms like a sub 단톡방 within people inside the 단톡방 that you feel that you resonate more with, like the subgroup kind of thing. So it becomes like more, I guess it becomes more atomic in a way. And that's like a very common tendency.
Wait, can you talk about that more? Because I have an analogy. So you're saying in a big open group chat, naturally smaller groups will form and it will like splinter off.
They don't. To be clear, they don't leave the 단톡방.
But they create a new separate one.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that happen? Like who starts that? Who chooses who to be invited?
I think it's never like in a very abrupt or obvious way. It usually starts with like, oh, maybe there's like a 단톡방 of like 30 people.
Yeah.
And naturally, if like you click with someone, click.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's natural that like, oh, do you want to get dinner together or whatever? It happens very naturally.
Yeah.
And then
wait. I mean, you would message them privately?
or like maybe in like a large group meeting.
Yeah.
in a physical meeting
Okay.
of like 30 people,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you naturally like get to be in more deeper conversations with these people, and then let's hang out sometime, right? And then
Yeah.
like you finally do.
Okay.
And then like in the excuse of like having that exclusive conversation,
Yeah.
you create another 단톡방 and it
Okay.
becomes like a smaller community,
I
if you
see.
will.
So that's how it organically forms. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like like a very usual way of how these form.
Yeah.
Another thing is because Korean society is more relational and community collectivist driven,
Yeah.
I think the overall chemistry of how this group works is more detailed and delicate.
I see.
This is something that,
Yeah, this I think is the key of it. This is the key and heart of it. So I want to talk about this a lot.
yeah,
That group harmony.
yeah. So this is something that used to annoy me a lot.
Yeah.
Now I'm like kind of I made peace with it.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of the reasons why I think that when you like shout out to a big group saying
Yeah.
like whoever wants to show up, like let's meet kind of,
Yeah.
that never works, is because I used to form like these groups a lot, right? Making like 단톡방s and like making whatever a community together. And I don't want to say every time, a lot of the times when we initiate like a physical meeting together,
Yeah.
someone would DM me
Uh-huh.
saying, "Is this person coming?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, who is coming?"
Yeah.
They like want to ask me and sort of like kind of assess whether like this chemistry is going to work or not.
Okay.
And that's a very common thing,
Very common.
which used to annoy me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why does that matter? Like,
Yeah.
are you not going to come if someone's coming or something?
Yeah.
And back in the days, I sometimes actually confronted these people,
Yeah.
asking this exact question.
Like,
up
why do you
front.
care?
Yeah, like, are you like not gonna come if someone's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
coming?
Uh-huh.
And they're always like, no, no, no. I just want to understand, the overall picture of how this is gonna go. Kind
Okay.
of, right.
Yeah.
And because of this nature of how people think about like the chemistry and whatnot of the group, if you shout out like I'm gonna be at this meeting, whoever's gonna show up, please show up.
Yeah.
They don't even know what's gonna happen. They don't know what the chemistry is gonna be like.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's very difficult for them to show up. Does
What's
this make
the-
sense to you?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So why is that chemistry so important?
But in general principle, right? Because it's not one or the other. I think the American community versus the Korean clique, if you put it that way,
Uh-huh.
it's on a gradient, right? It's
Yeah.
not like one or the other.
Yeah.
So there must be certain aspects that apply to American communities as well. Because like if you imagine like you planned like a night out with your friends
Okay.
and you understand who's coming, you can kind of picture how this is gonna go, like how tonight's gonna go, because like this guy's here.
You of course. Okay. Is this like a small intimate dinner, or is like a
Let's
big?
say a
That's the
group
thing.
of like 8ish.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's that big, June, honestly,
Yeah.
I'm gonna want commitments if I'm like planning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times for me, it's like, well, if you can come, don't. But I expect people to flake. I expect people to add people.
Yeah.
Like it's not the group is very amorphous. Like it's in constant. It's not like okay for a wedding, June. Of course, it's huge prep.
yeah.
They need to RSVP. If they RSVP yes and don't come, it's
Yeah.
a big fail. And you can't just join. You can't
Yeah.
crash it, right? I get it. But if it's just like a dinner, let's say Super Bowl party, right? Classic.
Yeah.
Invite 10 people, 10 families, bring your friends, bring your kids.
Yeah.
If they can come, if they can't make it, like I don't care, right? It's just kind of an open invite.
That I think that's one of the very big differences. The
Amorphic nature.
amorphicness of that moim, that
Yeah,
community of
yeah.
that day is pretty much fixed in Korea, right? It
Yeah.
happens very rarely.
See, this is what I'm wondering. What causes that though? Like, what is the essence of it?
because you don't know how like these people are gonna get along or not. So you don't invite
Yeah.
some other person without like getting an agreement within the group.
But by default, wouldn't you say two random people can get along just fine because you have at least one mutual friend in common? I don't know.
Yeah, that mindset I think is kind of different.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's the core
I
of
think
it.
Korean people tend to be very careful of like that relationship because it's more collect. I think it stems out again from like that very collectivist mindset.
Yeah.
They're more delicate in understanding the relationship and the overall harmony of how this is gonna go. Like
But why? Yeah.
you won't invite someone that you think that's it's like the vibe is very different from like the or are you more interested in seeing how it goes?
June, if I'm having a community
Yeah.
or a group meeting or an event around one thing,
Yeah.
let's say Super Bowl party, right? Super Bowl is a little bit weird because it's just a generically interesting cultural thing in the US. But let's say I just invite everyone who likes football, right? Even if I'm inviting people who are rooting for one team versus the other, that's okay, right? There's like a friendly rivalry.
But that's kind of a
Here's a better example than I
yeah.
think is
Super Bowl is like very specifically goal driven.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's a better one. One year we had a election night
Yeah.
event at our house. We
Yeah.
had a gathering.
Oh, that's gonna be a disaster.
I'm not going to invite people, let's say, who are very opposed on the political spectrum.
Yeah.
Because I know that's going to cause people are going to fight.
Yeah.
So for that one, I'm a bit conscious of it.
It's that, but more in a delicate way.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say I'm a Democrat and
Yeah.
it's election night party and I'm just inviting a bunch of friends who are Democrats. Let's just say, right? I'm not going to care about anything else other than, let's say, that one thing that the community or gathering is focused on, election night.
Yeah.
I'm not going to care if they're different religions, if they are in different socioeconomic classes, if
Yeah.
they have nothing else in common.
Yeah.
We just need that one thing in common, I feel like. Versus in Korea, I don't know if it's, I don't think you can just get gather a group of people around one commonality and just say everything else is going to be okay. I don't need to think about anything else other than that one commonality. And I think that's what drives the community, right? So long as you're there and you have that one thing in common, that's enough. Whereas I think in Korean, it's just like you need like 10 things in common, or my feeling is you need to make sure there's nothing that's really not in common. Like there can't be one thing that's strongly in disharmony in that group. Maybe that's the litmus test here for a group of people.
I feel like Korean people, yeah, they definitely have more. It almost feels like a search result, and you have like too many filters
Yeah.
applied to that. You
Yeah.
only get like a handful
Exactly.
of results.
That's like the
that's
Korean-
Korean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Let me put that forward then as a like a thesis then. In America, a community, you just need one thing in common,
Yeah.
is what I would say. And that group is fine. In Korea, how would you define the requirements in a Korean gathering? I was gonna say, as long as there's not one thing that's really at odds, like two people who hate each other,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fine. But I don't think that's true. I think you actually need like everything in common almost.
So going back to the search result analogy,
Yeah, what are the filters?
like your pre-existing group already has like 5 filters applied, right?
What are those 5 filters?
Oh, it depends.
Okay.
It's not like a fixed thing, right?
Okay.
Oh, I mean, I can get more into that, but that's like a separate discussion of how Korean people tend to form groups,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It has to be. Do you want to get
No,
into that now?
let's do it. Like, here's my okay. If I'm doing a Super Bowl party, June, that's again that one's a bad one because that's very open. Let's say I have a gathering, like I'm trying to host people from my kids' school. Like literally, the search results would be people I know and whose kids attend my school's grade. That's all that matters, right?
But that's already kind of a different mindset, I guess. There aren't a lot of like one-off meetings like that for Koreans. There already has to be like a group that's already pre-existing that has like a social relationship with.
Okay, that's the part that's missing. That
Yeah.
there's
There's
already
not
a
like a
pre-existing
yeah.
social relationship
Yes.
with.
Yeah.
See, is it okay? How do you build those without it's almost chicken and egg, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to get the group together in order to form deeper relationships. But if you have to have a pre-existing social relationship before you can get together, then how do even social relationships form, right?
I mean, it happens very I think a lot of the times it happens organically, but it starts with a very substantial group that's like kind of, I don't want to say forced, but let's say like you're like in your work or
Yeah.
like within like your school alumni, kind of like, it's not like totally organic, if you will, because it has like this very big premise.
Yeah.
It usually stems out from there, and then you start like applying so there's like this big filter that you apply, right? Like
Okay.
this one major filter.
Yeah. Like
that
you
is-
attended this college, you're an
Yeah.
alumni of that group.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very
It has to do with
low-pass
like
filter.
your identity, kind of like your base identity,
Okay.
which is like most of the time it's like your school or
Yeah.
your work. pretty much it.
Okay.
That's like
No,
your
hometown.
basis.
Oh, but that's encompassed in school.
But hometown, it used to be a big thing
Yeah.
in the past generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Not so much anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like
Wait, and by school, do you mean college specifically?
college, or maybe some people might have very close bondings with their high school friends. But
Okay.
this is my thesis. I mean, this goes back to like the utilitarian aspect of Korean people.
Uh-huh.
There has to be a use to that community if it has to be if it has to be sustainable. I think if it has no use other than, oh, we're just friends,
Yeah.
it wouldn't last that long.
Really?
And it has to do with like, so this is what I observed,
Okay.
and some people might be offended by this, and
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
Okay, okay.
But I
Your
feel
personal
like
observation.
but I feel like people tend to hang on to their social groups that they're most proud of.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
It's a status thing.
yeah,
Oh, interesting.
I feel like people who are very invested into like let's say your high school friends,
Yeah,
meaning that they don't have any substantial achievement past that.
yeah.
That's what I realized.
Dang, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This could explain one of the observations I had. I think it was in Squid Game, right?
Yeah.
Or in any high school thing where it's like bullying is involved, which is every high school drama in Korea.
Yeah.
But like you call them the jintas, right? Like
Yeah.
the cast outs. I always wonder why don't they just band together, right? And then I think you said like, but they don't want to be associated with each other.
Yeah. They're not proud of that belonging, right?
But don't you need a group? Like,
But you don't want to be a part of like the Jinta group, do you?
I mean, I'd rather be a part of that group than no group, right? At least that's how I think. But
But are you proud of the fact that you are a Jinta? If you
no.
are, then you want to be in that group.
Okay, clearly no one's going to be proud of that.
Yeah.
But for me, having some sort of community or social connection trumps everything, right? So earlier when you were saying like, what's the utility of that group? If there isn't one, it's not going to be sustainable. It's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
My immediate response to that is the utility is just having social connection. Like that to me is inherent value.
I think that sentiment is not that strong in Korean communities, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
Like for instance, I think the sense of community would be much stronger in like an apartment complex community
Yeah.
if the apartment is a very
Exclusive.
expensive, rich community.
I see.
The sense of community would be a lot more stronger versus when it's not.
Okay, I'm going to bring in another thread into
Yeah.
this. Is it because of, I guess, Jung or burden? Like, if you're in the group, all of a sudden there's an expectation that you give to the group. And so if you're a part of it, then it's almost like, is there a burden associated with being in that group? Because otherwise, in my mind, it's like, what's the cost? Like, why wouldn't you want to be associated with that group or in as many groups as possible? Does that make sense?
Because you have limited resource and time and effort that you want to put into that community.
Okay.
And
yeah.
if you like, you can't make 100 communities, right? You have
Yeah.
to pick and choose. And if you have to, what would you leave out? Is the ones that's more useful to you.
Okay, I think we're getting into another thing I mentioned, which is like you can only be a part of one, right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, let's just take my high school, for example. I was a part of my high school volleyball community. Honestly, in each class I took, I was a part of like that class community, which is not just one. Like I'm in 8 different classes with 8 different groups of people. Like
Yeah.
each of those is its own community.
Yeah.
I'm in like the Asian American community.
Yeah.
I'm in like I had my middle school carryover friends, which were predominantly Caucasian. I had that community.
Yeah.
So I was in all of these different communities, and that was okay.
You know why? Because you don't have a lot of depth. It's very shallow
Yeah.
and widespread, I think.
I'd agree with that. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why you have the bandwidth to attend to many of these communities.
Yeah.
Whereas in Korea, if you are in a certain community, there is a lot of depth. So you can't widespread this, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. So
Yeah.
is that the heart of it? And I guess I'm curious where this came from. Like, why in Korea, if you're a part of a group, community, clique, whatever, it has to be deep.
That's a very fundamental, interesting question.
Is it the collectivist part? Or I feel like it's because it's so hard to find that group where
Yeah.
everyone's bonding and clicking together that you don't want to lose it? Or is it there's this expectation once you're in a group that you give a lot to it,
Yeah.
right? And therefore it's like a very high barrier to entry. And
I
therefore once you're in, you don't want to leave, right? Or it's impossible to leave because you can only be a part of one because it's so demanding and it's so deep.
I mean, I don't know if this is related to your question,
Yeah.
but I mean, we have to get into this theme of like having different personas in different groups, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to answer it this way, but it is just a different way of
It's just
making
different.
relationships. It's almost like coming from a completely Korean mind. I
Yeah.
feel like a community in a relationship driven or collectivist society, we're more experts
Uh,
in community building.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's very superficial, almost like
Yeah.
the American way of community building is like very shallow. Like
Yeah.
why do you even make that relationship if it's not that deep, right?
Interesting.
Kind of.
Yeah. Because it's good to have a very broad network of shallow connections. I don't know.
Like shallow connection is never a good thing, is it?
Oh, I
Isn't
feel
there a
very.
negative connotation if this person says like, oh, like this person's a social butterfly and like
I
you
don't
just
think
want to
that's
make
negative.
a, it's not?
No, it means they can get along with a really wide swath of people.
Okay, this is what I feel about because there are definitely people in Korea that does that as well. I feel like this person is not paying a lot of attention to me.
I see. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't really appreciate that relationship if I can feel that from that person. Oh, this person just like hangs around with people,
yeah.
don't want to is not really interested in creating a very meaningful relationship with me and just like the sole purpose of this person socializing is trying to meet as many
Yeah.
people as possible,
Yeah.
then I don't want to be very invested in that relationship either.
Interesting. So
Have
it's
you never
about.
felt that way?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're talking about one on one a bit
Yeah.
more than like small group, let's say. But in my mind, there's an expectation that your social groups change and your communities change through your life, through the
Yeah.
course of your life, and also through the course of your needs, right? And of course, like no one wants someone who's just taking from the group and not
Yeah.
giving to it.
Yeah.
But eventually, that person I think will just leave on their own, or maybe they'll become more committed and start to give. But in my mind, there's this general understanding that any member of any group, their commitment level to the group, the investment level in the group, like how much they're giving into the group, it will change and fluctuate over the course of the time that we know them and they're in the group.
Yeah.
And if they're going to leave, that's fine. They're going to leave. But so long as there's enough core people who are giving and sustaining the group, that's okay. Right. And I think this feeds into like just in Korea, it's about no one wants to feel like they're giving more than they're receiving. I think that's very important to Koreans, whether it's in the context of like a wedding gift, whether it's in the context of a relationship, right? It has to be kind of balanced and equal,
Yeah.
right? But I don't, I think most communities in the US, it's just a core set of one, two, maybe three people that are driving, coordinating, scheduling, investing, and then everyone else kind of, if you're going to calculate it, does take more than they give. But over the course of time, it maybe starts to even out, right? Is how I think about it. Or individuals are more willing to do that, right? I'm willing to put more money into it, put more time into it, put more energy into it, just for the sake of bringing people together. Yeah. So I think that might be a difference too. Like my sense is Koreans really want there to be a balance.
Because I think definitely in any given group, right, it
Yeah.
can never be because like it's interconnected. It's very difficult to be like give and take kind of. Like in an individual relationship context, it is more give and take, I
Sure.
guess, in Korea. But in a group context, there
Yeah.
are definitely people who are more
Invested.
invested in driving the like trying to maintain and sustain the group, I guess.
Okay.
Putting more effort into it.
So you don't see any difference, at least in that. Like
Oh,
if
there
any.
must be differences, but it's
Okay.
not like
I guess I'm looking for the Korean equivalent of that too.
people who are more invested in trying to drive the.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like in a group, right? Of course, is there
They're definitely
the
like
core people that are the ones sustaining the group, and
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
else is probably taking more than they give, right?
yeah.
And
I
that's
think
okay.
it's okay.
Okay, because
Yeah.
those people are willing to invest it for the sake of the group.
But you have to acknowledge that certain people are putting more effort into it.
Oh, at the very least, they get the recognition.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true in the US too, I think.
Hmm.
So then I think maybe it comes down to size here
Hmm.
and maybe exclusivity,
Wait,
inclusivity.
but I want to go back to that topic of like having a very widespread but shallow relationship. And you said it's totally fine. People just come and go. But I wanted to give you an example of let's say a startup.
Okay.
Would you rather be in a startup where the retention is very low and there are a lot of people just coming in and out versus a startup that is very goal focused and people are very committed, right? It's
Yeah.
very exclusively consists of very, I guess, talented and smart people,
Okay.
and they just like sort of sustain with having a very strong retention.
But much harder to join.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me, they're okay. I can't say I want to be a part of one or the other.
Or like, which startup do you think has a higher rate of success?
Oh, see, I can't. I don't think. I think the smaller group's outcome is going to be capped
Yeah.
in that they're maybe more likely to last and sustain, but their growth is never going to get very big. Whereas the other model, where people can come and go if they please, like if they're really committed for that season, they're going to contribute. But if they're not, they're going to leave. I think there's a really high potential for that to ultimately become a really big outcome, if that makes sense.
I think if people, it's very, for me, it's very difficult to create a culture
Yeah.
and camaraderie if a lot of people just leave and a lot of new people just come in. Whereas like, it's kind of like, oh, we're in this together.
Yeah, I think okay. To be clear, I want to make sure in U.S. American communities, I do think there's always that core of people.
Yeah.
Let's say again, one, two, three people that are sustaining the group.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, if one of them drops out, the group might collapse, right?
Yeah.
But everyone else, and they're not coming and going. Let's say 1 week they're here and they never come again.
Yeah.
That of course can happen. But it's more like, oh, they're here while I don't know, for a few months, and then oh, they get busy, or they switch jobs or whatever it might be. Like they can kind of. I mean, I don't want to get into this too much because I don't think it's a core part.
Yeah.
But in general, for me, I do see a lot of value in having like a broader, let's say more shallow group of connections.
I just wanted to pinpoint what I feel like Korean people value as what a good group is. Like that tight connection,
Yeah.
like that very deep relationship kind of that you get out of having like these people creating a very deep relationship rather than like, oh, this group is very like open to anyone. Don't you feel more sense of belonging if you are in a very exclusive group though? Like exclusive membership, that's like always a selling point for
Honestly, for
yeah.
me, when I hear that, it's okay. There's something nice about it, like oh, I met the bar for entrance.
Yeah.
But I would say if I don't feel free to leave or to, let's say through some seasons give less to the group or whatever, it's going to feel very like, let's just say a country club. If there's a big cost of membership, like an annual $10,000 to be a part of it,
Yeah.
but you're not using it very much, you're not taking advantage of it very much, you find yourself not going very often,
Yeah.
you're going to feel like that's a waste of investment, right? Like, oh, I shouldn't be a part of that group anymore. So you might leave.
Yeah.
And then but later on in your life, if you want to return, like you can come back to it, right? And I think that's where, yeah, the analogy to that would be, let's say, like a gym instead of a country club, right? Very low cost, whatever, $100 a month to be a part of.
Yeah.
But then you don't feel the obligation to take the most advantage of it. Does that make sense?
But also you don't feel as if like you don't feel that sense of belonging to your gym.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, having that sense of belonging or exclusivity, I guess it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know if I'm unique in that. I feel, if anything, when there's a sense of exclusiveness, it's almost a burden. Like well, I don't ever leave it because it was so hard to get into it. I want to, take the most advantage of it. Otherwise, it's not worth the investment, right? And so it's kind of like maybe low cost of entry. And so for that to make sense in my life, it's not as hard, right? When it's a low cost to get in.
Maybe I want to make an analogy to like prestigious colleges, right? I'm pretty sure like that networking or maybe even frat culture is more prevalent in better schools. than a school that you can just easily get into? Would you feel a sense of belonging where if you go to a
Yeah.
school that anyone can just like enter if they wanted to?
June, this is very different. I think some of the strongest cultures in colleges
Mm.
are the big public schools. UCLA, U Michigan, like the UVA, like these big public schools that have, more people basically and a lower bar to entry. People feel really strong identities to those more so than I think maybe the exclusive Ivy Leagues.
Oh, I wouldn't agree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't
It's
have much school, yeah.
like that dorm culture in Ivy League schools is it's very strong that you want to network with these people. It's very exclusive, right? And that sense of belonging versus like
Yeah.
when like anyone could just come in.
So interesting because I
Yeah.
think you keep bringing it into like status or hierarchy, where it's
Yeah.
just that's just not how I think about communities in the U.S. Of course, there are those too. Don't get me wrong.
No,
Yeah,
I'm just trying to identify what Korean people might find value in why they try to drive groups that way.
and it's specifically, I guess, the status and exclusivity that comes from it.
It goes back to the utilitarian aspect.
Yeah,
And I'm keep on trying to come up with examples in US
yeah.
context to like help you understand because there might be certain aspects of that in the US as well.
Yeah, the college one's interesting, right? Because I didn't go to a big public college,
Yeah.
and I kind of regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it wasn't quote unquote as good of a school,
But is that just you?
I think
So
a lot of people might be
you're
that
saying
way.
that people if they both get into like a community college and then an Ivy League school, some people might just choose to go to a public college, community
You always
college.
bring up very
Well, I'm just trying to
far
say that
apart
yeah,
examples,
yeah,
June, when you try to counter me. But no, for example, I got into a pretty good private college, and that's
yeah.
where I went to college. But I was almost going to go to kind of a big public school instead, and those were what I was deciding between. And in hindsight, a part of me wishes I went to the big public college. Yeah, I think I would have, the alumni network stronger in a sense. It's bigger. They have major sports teams and programs that you can get excited behind and have that, passion for rooting for.
Do you think you represent the normal American, or is it kind of
No,
special?
I think a lot of people like their top choice of college might be going to that, like the big state school where they just can be a part of that group and community, root for the sports teams, have just like a huge swath of people that you can have some common connection with, even if it's not as deep or meaningful. It's just the classic, I think, breadth versus depth trade off, maybe, and what people value. Like, I think
But
Americans,
why is a exclusive membership a selling point in the US then?
it is for the same reasons that it is in Korea, like you're saying.
Yeah.
There's some status associated with it, let's
Yeah.
say. But I think what I keep hearing though is when you say utilitarian, I think it involves a very specific set of utility. Whereas the utility that a lot of communities and let's say these bigger groups in the US give, it's just social connection and a feeling of belonging, right? Like, oh, I'm a UCLA alum, let's say. People love like they're so proud of it. They connect with other UCLA alums, and even though it's not the most exclusive group.
But UCLA is already a very good school. That's why. I don't. I want to.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
okay,
want to
compared to
question.
compared
Do
to
you?
Harvard or the Ivy Leagues, right? It's a
Well,
tenth the
I
size.
think if it's UCLA versus Harvard, I
Yeah.
think it's already they're both very good schools. So it's a matter of choice. I think.
No, but you can't say that. Harvard is clearly more exclusive and clearly more prestigious, right?
But I think UCLA is pretty. It's already a pretty good school that you can cling on to something.
I don't want to like bash any college, right? But let's just I don't pick a random University of Wisconsin. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I don't think they would have the same amount of pride that people who go to let's say Harvard.
I don't know. I just disagree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would choose to go to that big state college over this small private school for a lot of these reasons.
To just feel the sense of community.
Well, what's important to them is, let's say, the gap in, and it's so weird. I don't know. Maybe I am unique, and I don't
To be
think that much
clear,
about
I
status.
do resonate with a lot of things that you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to represent the Korean point of view, I think.
Honestly, I'm not. I feel like we're not making much progress in this conversation because I'm really not understanding. Like when you describe the value of these small, very exclusive, I would call them cliques in Korea.
Yeah.
I get it. But I don't. What I think is missing is why they don't value So you don't see any value in kind of the social aspect of just getting to know people and having people that you can
Well,
hang out with
but
and
I don't. What is this? What is this conversation? The purpose of this conversation is for you want Korean people to understand the value of community. I'm just trying to represent what the current sentiment is
yeah,
there.
at the core of it is I don't see any cost in Korean context of having these broader, let's say more shallow communities that can form. And I don't think they exist in Korea. And I think that's what I really miss and I'm lacking.
Because there is no utilitarian value to that.
But that's crazy to me. I really just don't understand. So, okay, here's another example. Maybe you can explain. There's this drama that one of our Patreons had suggested called
Yeah.
Study Group. And so basically, within your class in Korea, your class size was roughly 30 people, let's say. And they were trying to break up. It's all about breaking up into smaller five group members where you study together, right? And I don't think you can be a part of different study groups. It's like everyone's in and committed to that one group. But in my mind, the way it would have worked is okay, you maybe have people that you're studying math with, and that's one group, and you're all of similar ability. Let's say you can all like give or take equally. There's like the English group, then there's like the chemistry group, then there's the physics group. But I don't think that's true, right? It's just like you're in one group together. Either it's very exclusive. You try to be with the smartest kids, and it's just very stratified in that way, right? I don't think the study groups form in the same way in America, and I mean, this might involve the classroom dynamics because I know in Korea, you just are in one room, the whole thing, whatever. But it just feels like these cliques have to form almost, and you can't move between them, right? Or you can't be a part of multiple ones, if that makes sense. That's something I just really am having a hard time understanding. But I think it's very emblematic of the Korean mindset. Like you find one tight group of people you do everything with, and it's
Yeah.
very exclusive. And if you want to leave, it's a big deal, lots of drama. If you want to be in, you have to get everyone's approval, and it doesn't happen very often that you would add people to that group. Whereas the American model is like, I do think it's more individualistic, but hey, I have all these different communities or different aspects of my identity, and I'm going to find some group that I can be a part of to share that with.
So
But yeah.
basically, you're first of all, it's kind of. I think this episode is kind of different in that you said there's no progress in this conversation. I
Yeah.
don't think we ever wanted to.
I feel like in almost every episode, I get to a point where I can understand the Korean
So you
psyche.
want to understand why Korean people don't want to have more shallow relationships? Is that your ultimate question?
Why are social connections in Korea, in my mind, entirely formed around cliques and all the negative associations I have with it?
Yeah. So
Like this is
because
very personal for me because I feel like either between me and my wife sometimes,
I think
like we're not
yeah.
included in things.
I think it's
Yeah.
because Korean people want to have more deeper relationships than a shallow relationship.
But what's the cost of the shallow relationship? It's very low cost to at least be friendly with someone that you have some common thing in.
Because you already have a lot of deep relationships and there's a limited resource that you can allocate.
What's the limited resource? Your time?
Well, let's say you have like 100 of like social points that you can use, right?
I mean, I want to
Korean,
be more concrete. Is it
yeah.
time? Is it connections? Like,
Yeah, time, energy that you put into the social relationship.
I see. But I don't, does it come at a cost, June? Like, if you have that really deep group of friends, but you're not hanging out all the, like every day together, right? Let's say there's another day that you have free and you want to, I feel like you're not even allowed to hang out with someone else because then that group will be like, oh, you hung out without us. Oh, you hung out with that people that aren't in our group, right? I feel like there's always drama associated with that. And I don't think it needs to be there.
Drama. I think drama is a different different topic though, because there are a lot of deep communities that don't have a lot of drama.
No, I'm saying the drama would come from if one of those members in that group that's very close with other people
Yeah.
hangs out with another group of people, either that group's not close with, or without the rest of the group knowing or being invited to, or they have to be very careful with what they let that group know because of that. Like, there's a risk of drama, I think.
That I'm not very familiar with.
Okay. I mean, okay, I do want to hear, like, I don't know if you ever joined the company where there was like a big open recruitment. But I suspect the exact same thing would happen there too, which is they all of a sudden have to find like the musical chairs game in Squid Game. Like you start off with, let's say, 100, but then you need to find your 5 people that you're very close with and you're gonna like go deep with. Otherwise, you run the risk of being on the outside, right? And that to me, I think causes, maybe it's what causes bullying or whatever. And I don't know, like, is that not true? If you join a company in a big group,
I don't ever feel that I have a desperate need to be in that five group. It just naturally happens that way.
Oh,
It's not like, oh, I have to be in like this group or something.
okay.
It's just the way that groups are formed, I guess. And naturally, you end up being in a very exclusive group.
Again, it's very foreign to me. Yeah. I mean, you will find your close friends
Yeah.
in America too, of course, right? You can't always hang out with 20 people.
Yeah.
But at least for me, it never feels like you are so beholden to that group, or you can change groups, or for different like needs, you can be a part of many different groups too,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't feel so all-encompassing, exclusive. Whereas I don't get that sense in Korea. Like people have their best friends, or like that those 4 or 5 people that they do everything with, share everything with, and then nothing else. And in fact, you're not allowed to like reach that group in a sense.
Okay. So I think the core question here is that why don't you just make shallow friends? Is that just not good? Isn't that the core question here? Because in a Korean mindset, that's a useless relationship.
I see.
Yeah, like why would you like invest time in someone that you would just meet once?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's so natural for me that I just can't even understand why you wouldn't.
Like
Yeah.
in maybe maybe this is not like the perfect example,
Yeah.
but I won't go on a sogeting if I know that it's not going to lead into anything substantial, kind of.
Okay. I mean, soul getting is very specific in my mind.
Yeah.
Like the goal is to find someone to date. So there's a very clear goal in mind.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it. I think the way in which Korean people approach and define what a relationship is that
Yeah.
there is like that
A goal in mind
utilitarian,
and everything.
not a goal in mind, but it is very utility driven, and that's
Yeah.
why like what's the use of this kind of.
I know this is gonna maybe come across negative, but it
Yeah,
sounds so calculating, like calculative.
it is very calculative.
But that's not a negative in your mind. That's natural. Like, of course it has to be that way. Or sorry, it has to. Of course it is that way.
I'm not saying that being calculative is that people take pride in that.
But it's
That
just so natural in how it is.
well, I mean, how you define what calculative is already it's
Yeah, what do
you're coming from a US perspective, right? It's relational. It's not an absolute value of like if you act this way you're calculative. And I think it's a different way of understanding
Uh-huh.
in Korea. Like certain things in Korea might feel more natural
Yeah.
that in an American point of view might feel more calculative.
That I agree with. Yeah.
Like if
But
you
that's
say
what I'm saying. It doesn't seem calculative to you because that's just so natural in how relationships are in Korea.
it's a blurred line, I think. Some people act very, very calculative, even in a Korean point of view, that I feel like, oh, that person just like pick and chooses whichever feels like is has more value to them.
Yeah.
I think that is the underlying premise.
Okay.
You don't want to be too overtly expressing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say there's so many things where like this is I think one of the most fundamental differences I've come across. And this is why it was such an epiphany for me. This to me underlies almost everything that so we don't have much time, but it underlies and ties together a lot of things I want to bring in June, which is things like third places as well.
Yeah.
But we'll get into it. So I just want to give examples to you. Like let's say you have your group of friends that you do everything with, right? Your clique.
Yeah.
And I have to also give it a context though, because let's say you do form work cliques, right?
Work clicks?
Like you have your group of coworkers that
Like a function group?
like you socialize with. I want to say social connection.
Okay.
do you have your group of like coworkers independent of work that you think
Oh,
you're close to
independent of
social?
in. Oh, I thought you were asking in work.
Yeah,
Oh, at
at
work.
work, but not that you have to do the work with.
Yeah.
But in my mind, open enrollment, people come
Yes.
together.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your group, right?
Yeah.
Independent of work. In fact, you mostly probably don't want to work together, so you
Yeah.
can talk about each
Yeah.
other's things.
Yeah.
Okay, you have that group, right?
Yes.
Let's say that you are, I don't know, drinking, like talking about work, and like you met someone that you think would work well in that group. Could you ever, like, how would you go about inviting them and coming to the like that drinking night together?
See, that's interesting because you already made the premise of that. I think that this person might go well with this group.
Or they're your friend that you want, yeah, you want to bring in and incorporate with that group. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can naturally happen. Oh, I know this
Sorry,
person.
not like, what is it? You message the group chat and say, hey, I have a friend I want to
Yeah.
bring. Is that cool?
Yeah.
And then are they going to be like, what are they like? What's their chemi? What's their MBTI? How are they going to get along? Are they so?
They wouldn't be very obviously doing that.
Yeah. But then is it like if any one of them vetoes, then they're not allowed?
Yeah.
Okay. There's veto privilege.
Well, but I mean, wouldn't
Okay, does vetoes happens a lot? Would the veto
No.
happen a lot? Okay,
No.
wouldn't. Really? But do
not in my
do
group.
people ask for plus ones? Like, oh, can I bring my friend along?
Yeah, but you can't just say, "Can I bring my friend along?"
You wouldn't, right?
Yeah, you would say like, "I have this person. This person is like this and
Yeah,
this and
I see,
this."
I see.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a good fit.
And also, okay, and maybe now we have to get into personas, June.
Yeah.
If that's
You look so frustrated.
it's so 답답해 for me.
Yeah.
It's too much for my
Yeah.
mind. My simple American is like, hey, they're cool.
Yeah.
You guys are cool. Let's be cool together. Right? But if that group, that five people was formed around work,
Yeah.
right? You entered the company together.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you had a hometown friend visiting Seoul. But this is the only night you can hang out. You would never invite that hometown friend to that group, would you?
Rarely I would.
See that? Again, why not? Like what's the problem with that?
It's not that I wouldn't invite this person just because that person is my hometown friend. If I feel like they can click together, I could.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like that, like clear cut like that.
But I feel like it is. Are you sure? They'd be like, oh, why are you inviting a non-coworker to this group? Like, we all have this history. We
It
have this
depends on how
context."
strong the characteristics of that group is.
Okay.
If the very fundamental of this group is a school alumni,
Yeah.
I wouldn't invite someone who's not a school alumni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's like very loose kind of,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, it's like, it depends on the character of that group. But the thing is that I wouldn't haphazardly conduct a social experiment and see like whether it's going to go along. I would have to be pretty confident that
Yeah.
they would go along.
Okay. I think this is a good lead way.
Yeah.
Is it true, June? Every social group in Korea
Yeah.
has that one strong thing in common.
Yes.
Yeah. That's, I think, another big difference.
Yeah.
Right? It's like in the US, let's say I'm living in New York. I have my one good friend from high school. We're
Yeah.
close. But that high school friend invites one friend who he met at a bar.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the three of us hang out a lot. I invite some coworker that I think is cool. Like all of a sudden, the four of us are cool.
Yeah.
None of us share anything more than, let's say, one thing in common. Every pair doesn't share anything more than one. Sometimes they don't share anything, right? Because it's like a friend of a friend of a friend.
I
But
see.
all of a sudden, you're like incorporating them into the social group. Therefore, it's more open and flexible, right?
I mean, those kind of communities definitely exist in Korea. I think it's. I mean, it's not like non-existent. I'm saying.
Okay. Would your average Korean have a group of friends like that?
It's not common,
Uh-huh.
but it might exist. But I wanna understand the common ground.
Yeah.
Is that even for like I think that all human groups in general has to have some utilitarian advantages. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. For Americans, it's just that feeling of community.
Yeah,
If
I
you
agree.
don't, like, why would you hang out with this person, right?
Yeah.
And I think what each community values, it prioritizes as what is more valuable is slightly different.
Okay.
And that's what like skews the relationship, the community characteristics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like social status, social power, information, these things might have more priority in Korean society. And that's why
Yeah, I see.
certain groups are more driven that way.
I got it, June.
Yeah.
Back to the core, individualism.
Yeah.
I think the number one utility that a social group has for me
Yeah.
is being known
Hmm.
and knowing them.
Yeah.
Like just getting to know each other,
Yeah.
right? As a person, as an individual.
Mm.
Does that exist in Korea? Do you want to be known as your individual, your full self with other people? Or when you bring, let's say, your
Mm.
like college alumni group, you just the context in your persona is, oh, my college persona,
Yeah, it's very
and that's what
different.
you just know.
Yeah.
It's so it's bringing together a lot of different things, but it's so hard for me to understand.
But there are certain aspects of that in the US as well, right? Where like why are you embarrassed sometimes when you're like in high school, let's
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
you're embarrassed to let your friends meet your parents and
Okay.
reveal how your parents treat you, kind of. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, you're just embarrassed because it's your parents, and you don't like
Yeah.
parents aren't cool. Like that's the thing.
But you're totally cool with hanging out with them in your family context, right?
Yeah, this one's different, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't choose your family. And if anything, I would say your high school social the way that your classic high school social dynamics work,
Mm-hmm.
I would say is very toxic and unhealthy
Yeah.
and formed around these cliques. But as you grow up and mature, you realize, well, popularity is not the only thing,
Yeah.
or status is not the only thing,
Mm.
and you try to crave a more basic, just human desire of knowing other people and being known by other people.
But okay, I'm just trying to I want to help you understand there is a human instinct to this. Or
The
like
tribalism.
I've seen like American movies or drama that
Hmm.
depicts like this person coming from like a very like grassroots or like almost like a countryside
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
trying to make it big at like,
In the big city. Hmm.
oh, okay,
Okay.
that's a good example. Devils Wear Prada,
Okay.
or like that Anne Hathaway,
Yeah.
she comes from like a very like non-fashion related whatever profession, and
Yeah.
then she goes into like I don't know like this fashion
Yeah.
company.
Prada or whatever. Hmm.
Yeah, and then she becomes like this very fashionable person.
Hmm.
And there's this one scene where she's kind of embarrassed to introduce like her like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
non-fashionable people.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that's like one example that if you can resonate
Yeah, it's funny you
with.
bring that up though, June. In that movie, and I
Yeah.
think most viewers
Yeah.
see that as very negative. Like she should not be embarrassed of
I
her
know
background.
whether
Like
like
why is that group so
regardless of
exclusive?
how you assess that, I
Yeah.
think there is some kind of human instinct to that.
Yeah, I agree.
That you act differently in different groups kind of.
Yeah, in America, just the same.
Mm.
There's status to be had,
Yeah.
networking to advance your career.
Yeah.
Those things all exist. I'm talking about the more base social unit though, independent of that. And
Hmm.
what I guess what I'm hearing, June, is
Yeah.
like in Korea, it's always for that purpose of networking, status, advancing, being more exclusive. And I'm just
Mm.
wondering, like,
I,
don't you just want someone that you can get along with?
that's already a utilitarian value. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
It's
Koreans
just like
don't value getting along with people, is what I'm
yeah, the
saying.
priorities are different.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that I'm not saying it's not utilitarian at
Yeah.
all. I'm saying the utility that Americans see in social connection
Mm.
doesn't seem to register for Koreans.
It does. It's just it's a priority issue, I think.
Fine, it's very low on the priority totem pole. Like I'm not trying to get you to say something that's like very black and white. I
Yeah.
get it. It's
Yeah.
all in spectrums.
Yeah.
But how can you not crave some base social interaction that is independent of other utility? This is why maybe there's no bars in Korea where you just
Mm.
go by yourself
Hmm.
and you can just drink. It's socially accepted. You meet people, you talk, you
Mm.
fraternize just for that moment, and you
Yeah.
never see them again,
Yeah.
right? Because the only bars I know of in Korea that are like that, they're specifically, or they're called like hunting bars. Like you're trying to meet someone that you
Yeah.
can either hook up with or
Yeah.
date,
Yeah.
but independent of that utility, just pass the time, have some social connection. Like why does that not appeal for Koreans? You keep saying it's useless. There's no value in it. That's where it's just so different.
There is value in it. I'm just
Okay,
saying
it's
it's
very low.
low priority. And if you ask why is it a low priority,
Yeah,
I can ask the same question. Why is this such a high priority for Korean,
exactly.
for
Yeah,
Americans?
it's because
You might say it's human instinct, but I think it's different by society.
yeah. It's really I feel so helpless in a sense for understanding this Korean psyche. Like it's so hard for me.
Yeah, I wanna better explain this.
No, I don't think we can reach a I don't know if I can get to a place where
Mm.
I can understand the Korean mindset here. It's so different from how I think and value my time in relationships.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's just a matter of degree, right?
Yeah.
There are different utilitarian purposes of how why communities work. It could just I mean number one I mean one thing could be just like pure friendship
Mm.
or like just that feeling of community that you
Yeah.
just like feel in that instant, or it could move up to like more exclusiveness, power, social status, and all that, right?
Yeah.
It's all combined, right?
Hmm.
Things that could sustain a community. If there's zero reason why you should create a community, it would just collapse, right? And I think there are just many different aspects, many different factors that
Yeah.
sustain a community, and there are different priorities,
Hmm.
how certain cultures prioritize one over the other.
Hmm.
And to be clear, in Korea, the priorities have shifted over
Yeah.
time as well. But I think it's just different priority.
Okay, let's talk about the bar instance. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just some random day after work.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go to a bar,
Mm,
drink a beer for an hour,
yeah.
watch whatever's on the TV,
Hmm.
talk to the people on my left and right, small talk,
Yeah.
and go home.
Uh,
It's fun for me.
yeah.
It's socializing. It gives me
Ah,
perspective. Like,
yeah. I
there's a lot of utility for me,
yeah.
but why is that
I got an
utility?
epiphany.
What is it?
It's because again goes back to the collectivist mindset where
Okay.
it's like I have to establish a different persona for every group, and that already you have to put energy into that, right? And to meet a random stranger and have a relationship, I don't know what kind of persona or like what kind of persona I have to present to this person, and that already I have to put some energy into that.
Is it the persona energy, or is it maybe this is related?
Yeah.
Is it hierarchy? Because in
Hierarchy.
order to have any relationship, you have to first establish a hierarchy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that plays a big role here?
Uh-huh.
I see.
Yeah.
So if I meet a random stranger at the bar, you have
Yeah.
to first say, okay, who's older?
Yeah.
And then if it's guy girl, like mixed gender, is
Yeah.
that okay? Like, are both of us single?
Yeah.
And both of us are not looking to date?
Yeah.
This is just a platonic thing.
Yeah.
You have to go through all of that
Mm.
before you even talk. I just don't get it, June. I'm really trying. And is it really that high of a cost? Like, oh, like how do you ask like what year are you? Like, oh, 언제 like is that even that is too forward of a thing to ask a stranger when were you born?
Well, it's just the pure act of asking
Yeah,
doesn't involve a lot of energy,
yeah.
but everything that's attached to that, right?
It's bringing in small talk again. But okay, with a random stranger, June. Okay, here I'm gonna challenge that. Before establishing a hierarchy, can't you just both talk in formal language to each other?
That's
Oh,
how usually
yeah, yeah.
it
You both are
happens.
just formal,
Yeah.
and the first thing I would say is like, oh, like I don't know, how's your day, or what are you up to, or if you're watching TV, like, oh, do you root for the team, or yeah, what are you doing here? I mean, what's what is so costly and difficult about asking those questions to a stranger? And I get it, okay, June, if you're saying Koreans just don't value that, why would they put in any energy,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's very small?
Yeah.
So it gets back to the point of like, why don't, I guess Koreans just really don't value non utilitarian social interaction.
It's lower priority than
Okay.
it is in the US, I guess.
And I guess it does get back to the point I said. The main value, okay, it is fun, but it's like getting to know someone,
Mm-hmm.
the act of knowing and being known, maybe in an individualistic society is very important
Mm.
because you see yourself as an individual.
Yeah.
You're not connected to anyone else,
Uh,
and you want to express yourself and be known.
mm.
Whereas in Korea, where it's everything is collectivist by nature,
Yeah.
you don't need that. You already have something common in to start with, whether it's an alumni group, whether it's a employer,
Mm.
whether it's a hometown, whether
Yeah.
it's a sports team you root for.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's already established.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't necessarily care to be known at an individual level.
maybe that true. And I mean, individual is like that concept of my individual self is is weaker than it is in the US, I think. Yeah.
So then, okay, now
What
I'm
like
starting to understand
what aspect
personas.
of me do I want to get known by is is like an issue in a collectivist society.
That's true. Because
Yeah.
in America, it's just
There's no like a single me, I
it's
guess.
always everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can always ask anything about me in
Yeah.
any context.
Yeah.
Okay, progress. Let's say I'm going to a bar for the Doosan Bears, right?
Yeah.
That's the team Doosan Bears, and everyone there's a Doosan fan. When you're there, is it okay to ask other people about non-Doosan things? Where do you work? Are you married? Do
Oh
you have
no.
family?
I mean, not like right away.
I see.
Yeah.
So in the collectivist persona-driven mindset, you're with a group of people over some commonality,
Yeah.
and that's all you discuss and bond over. Like it's hard to bring in other aspects of yourself to that.
Well, you'll have to create a more deeper relationship with that person to go into that depth.
Yeah, and this is maybe what causes the splintering. So
Yeah.
you have the Dantok Bang with all the Doosan Bear fans in the world,
Yeah.
and then you splinter off into, let's say, you're trying to find a dating partner, and so all the single people who are Doosan Bear fans join that smaller group, and
Yeah.
then you're establishing yourself, well, like similar status.
Yeah.
So then you're trying to get the smaller Doosan Bear fans who are single and looking to date,
Yeah.
who are rich.
Yeah.
And then that goes in like further down, right? Okay, I see. So it really needs to splinter off slowly as you find more and more commonality with each other.
Yes.
I see. So any social group in Korea revolves around at least one, but no less than one, common pieces of identity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think what Korean people are longing for is that more strong sense of belonging than just like a
But I
very
think it has
widespread feeling of community.
and the key factor here is, though, June, the sense of belonging comes from shared identity. It doesn't come from any sense of individualism. Oh, well, I guess an individual is just a collection of their identities.
Yeah.
But do you get what I'm saying? Like in America, people would say your best friends are the people you can be 100% yourself, no question.
That's true in Korea too.
How though? Because in that group, let's say you finally get down to those 5 people. Like this is your group of people you entered the company with together. You're all the same age, you make the same money, so there's nothing different there. But what I'm challenging is in Korea, if any social group revolves around that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things they have in common, can you bring in other parts once that's established?
As long as it doesn't disrupt what is holding up
So there's qualifiers. You can't, yeah. I mean, that's true in America too, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see it. It does feel so different to me, and I'm trying to understand more deeply why. So long as it doesn't disrupt the harmony.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true too, right? If you have a close group in the U.S. and 2 people date and then break up, yeah, the group could splinter. I get it.
Also depends on whether like how welcoming that group is, like how willing to accept other point of views. It differs.
But there are groups in Korea that you think are more willing to accept different perspectives and therefore outsiders.
As long as that other aspect that is holding up the group
It's
is
not at
very
risk.
strong.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a very concrete example. I mean, like, let's just talk about the poker group that met.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a good example because it hasn't been sustained, because I think I was the one pushing it and that kind of stopped.
Yeah.
But none of us were, maybe like 1 or 2 of us were closer.
Yeah.
But I was like the common thread and everyone was just like okay with it. I think people have a good time there, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm going to invite new people, it's fine. Like, just bring whoever. It's very open.
Yeah.
Right? Versus, let's say, take one of your Korean groups. I don't know if it's my inability to speak Korean. Oh, the Super Bowl party is another good example.
Yeah.
Can June come? Sure, bring him
Yeah.
along. Great.
Yeah.
Was that a fun social interaction for you, or was it very tiring? All right, yeah, let's reset the stage. June, the Super Bowl is a good example, right?
Yeah.
Because I was invited, I had met maybe 4 or 5 other people for dinner, and it was okay, next week is the Super Bowl. And so they invited me to go watch it, and I was like, oh, June, this is a great example for you to come. And then I asked them, I did ask them, oh, is it okay if I bring my friend? I only asked that, June, because I knew seating would be tight.
Yeah.
If seating was not tight, I would have not even asked. I would have just said June come, or I would have told them, hey, I'm gonna bring someone, not ask for permission. But I knew seating was tight, so I said, oh, is it okay if June comes? And they said, sure, bring them along. So I'm curious from a social aspect how that was for you. Yeah, was it tiring? Did you have to? You weren't sure what persona to bring.
Yeah, to a certain degree, yes.
Okay.
One of my first questions was do these people know that I'm coming? Do they know who I
Oh,
am? Kind of. And if I have, I mean, I'm very okay with this because I understand the American context. But
That's
if
true.
this
You do
were to
understand.
be,
Yeah.
if this were to be a Korean group,
Yeah.
and this person invited me to that group,
Yeah.
and I later found out that they didn't even like this person didn't ask other people that I'm
Yeah.
coming, I would feel very awkward.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Like I feel like I'm not even invited there.
Yeah.
And then this person just like randomly decided that I can come there
Yeah.
without having
Sure.
other people's agreement.
Approval.
Yeah, then I would feel very awkward and uncomfortable.
But let's talk about the Super Bowl in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you tired socially? Did you find it awkward to talk with? I mean, it's always awkward when talking to strangers for anyone,
Yeah.
right? But
I had some people that I felt like I can get along with
yeah.
more than others. Yeah.
And don't you see value in that casual social connection? Like if we hang out again a second time, a third time, if you see them randomly in the future, like, oh, didn't I meet you at that Super Bowl party? Yeah. There's huge value in that.
There is value, but not huge.
Not huge to you.
If it doesn't lead to something that is more substantially meaningful in a relationship.
I see.
Not only in a utilitarian, like very calculative aspect,
Yeah.
but if I feel like the very premise is that I feel like I'm very sure that I'm not going to meet this person ever again,
Yeah.
then I don't just by that instant,
Yeah.
I don't feel very big value.
I see.
Yeah.
Maybe another conclusion I have is that the baseline socialness of Americans is higher. Like, so for me, the value is even if I never go deep with that group of people,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, next US sporting event,
Yeah.
we can all get together again. And like, I might see them like 4 times a year. And we never go deeper than talking about US sports. But that's enough for me. That's okay. I'm not investing much.
Yeah.
I'm not getting back much, but that's
Yeah.
great. Like,
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah.
Does that not hold much value for you?
I wouldn't put in that time and effort
I
to
see.
create that group then.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. June, I want to bring up. Let's pivot because
Yeah.
we're getting close to time now. There's a lot of talk now in the U.S. around, the lack of socialization amongst the younger people as well. I think it often comes down to two things. One is a lot of relationships are now digital rather than in person.
Yeah.
But the bigger one is, I think, and maybe this is related, there's a huge lack of time spent in quote unquote third places. So not home, not work,
I love it.
but somewhere else.
Yeah.
And traditionally, these were things like, let's say, cafes,
Yeah.
parks, libraries.
Yes.
The biggest one I would say is churches,
Okay.
right? Some sort of a religious community group where you go there, again, you form a community. You can interact socially very casually, and these are all missing. And I wanna talk about third places and the digital, I guess, connections in Korea too. And just curious, what are the third places that exist in Korea? And one of my conclusions, just to lead with it, is I think third places in Korea are places you go to strengthen and deepen existing relationships, but you never go there with the mindset or idea of making new relationships. And whether it's a cafe, whether it's a library, libraries are very different. That's its own thing in Korea.
Yeah.
You have to be so quiet in Korean libraries. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But by the way, and I want to lead with this too. This is why I think PC bangs in Korea
Yeah.
were maybe huge because they started to blur that line and become a true third place in Korea. But anyway, just wanted to hear your thoughts on third places and non-home, non-work, or for younger people, non-school places you can go to socialize and form some sort of community.
I don't think it exists, does it? Is there one?
This is where
Or for young people.
were PC bangs in the 90s kind of like this?
But I think you only go with your friend group.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So you couldn't go alone and try to make friends or talk over the same game at least?
I mean, that rarely happens, I think.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
PC bangs, you couldn't go alone.
I mean, if you go alone, you go alone.
Oh, if you go alone, you don't socialize.
Not really.
Really? Even if you're playing the same game together right next to someone?
But everyone's playing the same game anyways.
What?
In the 90s, it was StarCraft, and now it's like, what, League of Legends or whatever.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you went to a PC bang alone,
Yeah.
would you not try to see like who the best player was and like watch them, and then all of a sudden you could like make friends and small talk? That would never happen.
I mean, I could see that happen in like the 90s or 80s in the arcade rooms a little
Yeah.
bit.
Oh, yeah, arcades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that used to happen. And that's why I'm saying it evolves over time,
Yeah.
I guess. Now I think in PC bangs it doesn't really.
But what's the arcade again? Yori
오락실?
Orakshia?
Yeah.
So maybe the arcades of the 80s and 90s in Korea used to be a third place. And now
I
maybe
think in Korea, this is still digital.
Yeah.
You're talking about physical spaces, right?
I was talking about physical and digital though. Let's talk about both. But as far as physical spaces today,
Yeah.
can you think of any third place that you can just go to and socialize?
Again, this is a generational
Yeah.
thing. I think elderly people, they have like their elderly community center where you can socialize, but that's kind of like their workplace, right? Because
Yeah.
otherwise they're at home.
Or it is their home too if it's
Maybe,
a retirement center.
In Korea, no, not really.
Wow. Oh, the park, hiking trails, maybe?
Do
Can
you
you
really?
socialize as you hike?
Only old people do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, but old people do that, right?
But old people do that everywhere, like even in subways.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime an old person meets another old person, they small talk,
Yeah.
they connect.
Yeah.
They
My
socialize like Americans.
my mom, my mom, she socialized it in restaurants. Like she wants to talk to the chef.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
how did you cook this? And like I can feel that they're instantly bonding, but it doesn't really happen in my generation.
Okay, so before we move on to digital third places,
Yeah.
what would you say caused this generational shift in basically not creating third places and not creating any social connection?
I kind of have a answer to this.
Yeah.
It's because Korea became very competitive and stratified in their social statuses. Whereas like when my mom or the generation above they were growing up, everyone was just like dirt poor, and there weren't a lot of differences in the social status.
I see.
So they didn't see each other as competitors, right?
Yeah.
And now like because society became so competitive, everyone's like as default they're competitors. So it's very hard to just like socialize and bond with random strangers, I guess.
Would most Koreans feel that like there's no value in me becoming friends or socializing with people in a different social status than I am? Very classist mentality, but I understand it's
Not-
more natural maybe in
I mean,
Korean
not
society.
necessarily, but it all has to do with priorities, right?
Yeah.
If that person is providing something that can override the social status bonding,
Yeah.
then I could
Providing something.
Yeah.
Would being interesting be enough to override? Is that of any value? Like they're just an interesting person. I want to know more about them.
Yeah,
Is that very
that is a
valuable in Korean
value, but it's not.
society?
Yeah,
But
but
very low.
depends. Like there are priorities.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think this is a thing. I think everyone, even like everyone in the world, if they want to be in a community, they want
Yeah.
to feel safe.
Yes.
Right?
I'd agree. Yeah.
And having some common ground kind of ensures the safeness that you're feeling.
Agreed. Totally.
Meeting with a random stranger, you don't know who this person is, and I think Korean people tend to feel more unsafe than how an American person would feel. Like meeting someone at a bar, you don't know this person, right?
Yeah.
You feel less safer.
Okay, agreed.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't ever say in America that crosses into unsafe.
Yeah.
So you're saying why would a Korean feel unsafe talking to a stranger?
Yeah.
I agree, they don't feel safe. But to me it's neutral. Like why would you feel unsafe?
I think even the fact that I have to reveal myself,
Yeah.
right? This goes back to like the privacy thing, but I feel vulnerable revealing who I am, kind of.
Yeah, explain that to me. Like what makes you vulnerable? Just saying your name, what you do for work. Like how is that vulnerable?
Maybe this relates back to the competitiveness.
Yeah.
If like you're an enemy, like why would you want to?
Okay, if they're
Enemy is a
right?
strong word. If you're competing, right? There's an underlying sentiment that everyone's competing. If there is, right?
Wow, even with a stranger.
I mean, I'm not saying that we're very calculatively
Yeah.
thinking about that,
Yeah.
but there's like this underlying sentiment, I think, in society in general, that you don't want to reveal yourself.
No, I get that. I'm just trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Like, I get if, okay.
If
Korean
you're more of a competitor, You don't
Korean
want to
society is
give out
competitive.
information about you.
I get it. Korean
Yeah.
society is competitive.
Yeah.
If I go walk to Hyundai Baekgyeom
Yeah.
and pick a random person,
Yeah.
you can't say we're competing. Come on.
But you don't know who this person is, so why?
Exactly, but how can you say you're competing? Like it's
Yeah, I'm
you
saying
might
it's
compete.
it's an instinctual level thinking, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, no, maybe that's wrong. But it's just like
okay, I love talking to old people, right? I do.
but you wouldn't ask their names, right?
In Korea or in America?
In Korea.
Well, in America, the first thing you do is ask their name because that's how you refer to them.
Yeah.
But in Korea, I'm just saying in general, I like talking to old people.
Yeah.
And I would love to go to Hyundai Baekgyeom and be able to like just talk with random old people, right? I would love that. I can't converse in Korean, whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm not competing with them.
But why old people out of like why
Oh, I
why do you
think
have a preference?
just because they have more wisdom, I think, and just I want to hear their perspective on life, having lived more than me. To be clear, I love talking to young people too,
Yeah.
for the
But
same reason.
I want to make a point because you're also prioritizing what you find is more valuable, right?
I
In a
agree. I think
relationship.
it's more
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
talking to older people.
Yeah. I think it's just every relationship has some kind of utilitarian
Well,
aspect to that.
what I'm trying to get at though is you're saying one of the fundamental reasons this doesn't happen is because Koreans have a natural competitiveness about them in society, and I'm saying that old person, I'm not. There's no way I can compete with them. There's literally no facet along which we can compete, unless what their kid is working at the same company as me.
But how can you how can you be very sure that this person is a safe person to reveal my identity to?
There's no cost. It's not risky to reveal my identity.
But what if this person is like a scammer?
I know, but I feel like that is true. Maybe Koreans often bring up the worst case possibility, but it's just such a low risk, right?
Maybe this ties back to risk aversiveness then.
Yeah, like Koreans
they
don't want
wanna
to take any
anything.
risk.
Yeah.
Okay, because maybe they see no reward, and I see the reward in the social value
Yeah.
and the interestingness and just the fun of the conversation. To be honest, right? That's so fun to me.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not-
willing to risk a little bit, like my name.
It's it's the balance between
Risk
like
reward.
risk like whether you feel like this is valuable enough to risk that
Yeah,
combined with how risk averse people are,
yeah.
combined with how you prioritize certain aspects of what you feel is utilitarian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I want to bring in the digital third places and
Yeah.
also make some analogies.
Yeah.
Because earlier you talked about how social groups can maybe splinter off and a big group becomes smaller and smaller. Jun, whether you know it or not, at least in Korean churches, Korean
Yeah.
American churches in the U.S., that's a very textbook thing that happens, which is the church. There's some feud in between. Maybe two people disagree, and then it breaks off into two, and then that group eventually maybe grows bigger, but eventually it gets too big. They split off.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they cannot coexist in harmony
Yeah.
unless it's like if there's any sort of disharmony, they just have to splinter.
Oh, even in a Korean American church.
Oh yeah, I think the Korean American churches. Sorry, the
But that doesn't commonly
older
happen.
Korean churches, right? The older Korean. When I say Korean American, maybe that explains like the English ministry version of it. But in the let's just say the Korean churches in America, I think that's the clearest way to say it. It's a very like well-known and sad behavior and pattern that they just tend to splinter off smaller and smaller, and then they grow and then they splinter, they grow and they splinter, in kind of a negative way. Oh, they
Yeah.
can't get along with each other.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's just one thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm going to extend this too. You said a lot of the online, let's say, third places in Korea, they tend to be smaller and self-selecting. Like there's no Reddit where just like everyone's on it, right? There's DC Inside, and you mentioned others. There's these like smaller social groups, or like some random photography website becomes the group where people can hang out. So I think that's the pattern extending. They're smaller. They're
But
more,
isn't Reddit also thread based?
Reddit does have the
subscribe to certain-
subreddits.
yeah,
Yeah,
so-
but on Reddit there's infinite subreddits, I would say. Yeah.
But isn't it the same in
Oh, my understanding is
Online.
DC Inside was a group for, I don't know, like, are there certain categories of conversations or galleries in DC Inside that just don't exist because there's not enough people interested in it? Or do you think that's a place where anyone can go and find the galleries they're interested in?
Oh, only if you have a certain number of people who are interested in,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
but this is more, I think, a philosophical difference between the two, how it's operated, right? Reddit is more like you can create whatever you want,
Yeah.
versus I think DC Inside is more centralized, and I think the admin has to approve something.
I see. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
But even that is more individualistic versus collective, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Like Reddit, anyone can create any subreddit and
Yeah.
anyone can then go and join.
Mm,
Whereas DC Insight, there needs to be like sufficient volume, and then the mod has to approve
yeah.
and then create this sub gallery, right, for that group. So
Yeah. My question is, do you think like most American people want to like their mission in creating community is wanting to like make it as widespread as possible? Like I want to meet as many people as
interesting.
possible. Is that like something that you have in mind
Yeah,
as an
I do
average
think that's
American?
I think that's pretty default. Yeah, I think
Oh.
most communities by nature want to grow.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think in Korea I think it's pretty much the
Yeah,
opposite.
you want to keep them small and exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if it becomes like bigger, like it's almost like a cell.
Yeah, growth
Yeah.
splits. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably innate in the yeah, for American communities.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had noted this one, June. I know we're getting close to time.
Mm.
Jimjilbangs?
Mm.
Was that not a third space for Koreans?
No.
Really?
찜질방?
You wouldn't small talk and socialize and
Well, if it was,
yeah.
then everything was at some point because it was more like more of an environment where you just small talk and meet and socialize was with random strangers.
Yeah.
Everything, if you say if it was to a certain degree at some point.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Sad. Okay.
Sorry to disappoint you.
But do you think people go to jjimjilbangs for that collective communal environment? Where like at least you're with other people. There's some socialization that even if you don't talk.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
Zero.
Really?
100%
People go
guarantee.
there just for the saunas and like there's no value in
Or people who you went with. Yeah.
okay. That was my last attempt.
It's just pretty much like I've never seen someone who wants to go to 찜질방 to socialize with random strangers.
Okay. Here's one thing.
Yeah.
The idea of being a regular at a random place. So, for example,
Yeah.
there's a coffee shop I go to.
Mm.
Coffee's not great,
Yeah.
but the ajma there is really nice.
Yeah.
And now, like, we know each other. We don't know each other's names,
Yeah.
but I insa.
Yeah.
She smiles.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
But I go there, the coffee's not good. It's not necessarily the great price. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I'm just loyal to her and that interaction. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Would that be common, unique, neither in Korea? Like,
Well, that's common. That's
okay,
pretty
so
common.
people start to feel loyalty for a place and want to be known there, right? See, I would highlight that as there is that innate nature in Koreans too, to know and be known by people and have some social interaction.
I think this is pretty split
Okay.
depending on that person's characteristic.
I see.
I know a lot of people who would stop going there if this person starts recognizing you.
Okay, that's not where I thought this was going.
Because I'm kind of like that too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to be recognized.
It depends.
Yeah.
If the recognition provides me certain value,
Yeah.
then I would go.
Wow.
For instance, I love that my hair salon person
Yeah.
knows exactly what I want.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I
So
would
there's
go there.
value in repeat customer.
But for some reason, I hate it when like a clothing store person
Knows you?
knows me.
What?
I hate it. I would stop going there
There's
just
no
because of
cost.
that.
Wow. What's the negative? I don't get it.
I feel embarrassed that this person knows me.
Wow. That's so interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know that this is a common trait amongst men in particular.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I thought you were going to say people would stop going to the coffee shop if the coffee quality goes down, or if that employee stops working there,
Yeah.
or if the price goes up. There's less utility, right?
Yeah.
But you just went the other way. Like, you don't want to be known. You
Right.
actively don't want to be known.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can, as someone who often says the best thing about being in Korea for me is being incognito, I can appreciate some of that.
Yeah.
But okay, anyway, all right. I do think I got to a place where I kind of understand a bit better.
Really?
But I have to be honest, June. For
Yeah.
me, it's very depressing. Yeah, I understand I want to be very clear. I'm not saying the American psyche is better or worse. overall. But for me, having grown up in a culture where I
Yeah.
do value being known and my individuality and
Mm.
building social connection, let's say beyond more classic utilitarian
Yeah.
values,
Yeah.
being in that environment where everyone else is valuing social connection very differently than
Mm.
me, it is probably now the hardest thing about being in Korea.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. So there definitely, I mean, I somewhat emphasized what I feel is the predominant nature of what Korean society is right now a little bit,
Hmm.
but there definitely are anomalies, right? There are definitely people like you, people who want to just like put a lot of value in just having that simple sense of even just like that simple conversation with strangers
Hmm.
that does exist.
Yeah.
It there's a tendency amongst like within generations
Mm.
definitely. And I also want to stress the fact that I don't think Korean people are proud of the fact that Korea is like this, right? I mean, you can think about like the suicide rate and everything.
Yeah. It's very
It's
high.
somewhat
Hmm.
related to that. People are
Hmm.
very isolated.
Hmm.
I don't know how we can shift the overall trajectory of where it's going right now.
Hmm.
And I I want to say that Korean people deep down they want to have that kind of more friendly environment that is not that competitive. I mean,
Hmm.
people always complain about the fact that Korea is very competitive, too competitive,
Yeah.
especially coming from the people who fled the country,
Hmm.
right? So they don't like it, but it's
Hmm.
just the way it
It's
is.
just the
It's
way it
the
is.
way
Yeah.
it evolved. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think people are proud of the fact or just accepting of I mean, people just accept because it is what it is, how you're going to change it kind of, right?
Yeah. And I think it's relative in the sense that, if you ask any American, like, are you proud of the fact that you have a lot of shallow social connections?
Yeah.
No one would say they're proud of it.
Yeah.
But relative, I think so, shallow versus deep is relative. And so if most of your relationships in the US are like a little bit, casual, surface level, no commitment, just like whatever,
Yeah.
it's all relative, right? Some are
Mm.
more deep, some are less, but it
Yeah.
doesn't feel shallow
Uh
because that's what most of your relationships are like, right?
uh
Outside of family and like one or two best friends, right?
yeah.
But I do think the major difference, though, is in any sort of community in the U.S., I never feel like I can only bring that one aspect to the
Mm.
group, and
Mm.
I can't. Part of the value is okay. Everyone's sharing one thing in common,
Mhm.
but then everyone brings everything else, and so it's this really cool like experience where you get to find out about different backgrounds, different professions, different upbringings,
Mm.
different cultures, right? And you just need one thing in common to keep it together.
Mm.
And I think that is what I miss, right?
I think in Korea those communities exist, but more systematically, not in an organic way.
I see.
Yeah. Like they're
Like how? Like I'm trying to understand. Like, what's an
like book
example?
groups, right? Like reading groups.
No, okay, June. If you come together over a book, like in a reading club,
Yeah.
I think you would say you can't bring non-book related
Non-readers.
things to that group, right?
That's
You
true.
can't start talking about your kids, and they'd be like, "Oh, why are you asking about my kids, or
Mm.
where I grew up, or my work?
I think
Let's just talk about the book."
I think individuals are less differentiated in Korea anyways. So that's why they put less value in that.
I don't think that's true. Your coworker, like sorry, your profession, your background, where you grew up, your family situation.
Pretty much the same.
No, you have one kid,
You
two
you can't
kids. Like,
say that the cultural upbringing is as different as it is in in America.
but June, that I agree with. But it's all relative, right? So maybe even if I don't know, let's say Daegu and Busan are more similar than two random cities in the U.S.
Pretty much the
Relative.
same.
Oh, you can't even say relatively. The smaller
Relatively,
differences
but
are
that
bigger.
diff is so little to be
Okay,
super
I see.
interesting. Yeah, like I would be super interested in like let's say if I meet a random stranger in Europe
Yeah.
and talk about like how they live, that would be super interesting to me.
I
And I
see.
think if we live in a society where everyone's individual in an individual level, people are very differentiated, I
Yeah.
think people put more value in that. In Korea, it's like I think it's pretty much the same.
I don't. I just disagree. I don't know.
You find it more interesting because it's already very different from how you grew up. I think that's why.
Really.
Yeah.
Because most people here are different from me. Like
Yeah.
if you were to meet a random Korean person, let's say, there's an age difference. You can talk about that, where you grew up, your profession,
Hmm.
where you work, where you live right now, Pangyo, how Pangyo's changed over time. You do a
Not
podcast, you're in a band, you make ice cream. Like all those things are super interesting points of conversation, but you don't even feel able to bring them up. That to me is sad.
But I think I'm kind of different also.
You have more varied and unique interests than
Yeah.
most. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think most Korean default is like not that interesting.
Okay.
Or like less interesting than a more individualistic society and and also like a melting pot
Okay.
context that is in America.
Maybe that part I'm over. Yeah, I'm not putting as much weight into. Okay. I think at least
I
the
just want to
conclusion.
decipher.
I think the
Yeah.
conclusion for me, Jin, my takeaway from this conversation, very random and sprawling.
Yeah.
Koreans put less value than Americans in, I guess, base socialization.
Mm.
And maybe that's because they see that base socialization potentially as a threat or negative.
Mm.
Maybe because they're talking to competition, maybe because they're talking to people who don't have good intentions.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that's one of the main takeaways for me. The other is related to safety in
Mm.
big groups.
Yeah.
And I think Koreans not feeling safe revealing things about them because of that competitive nature.
Mm.
And also in a bigger group, maybe there's more chance of one individual,
Mm.
being a bad actor or not having the best intentions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably my takeaway. And I guess maybe I can understand that
Mm.
a bit. Yeah.
I just want to end this by saying I think everything's just relative and it's not one or the other again. It's
Yeah.
all on a spectrum and there are certain collectivist aspects in the US as well, as much as there could be some individualistic aspects in Korea as well. And that's why sometimes I want to come up with sometimes it might seem to be very extreme examples, but try to let you understand that there could be some aspects in America that could help you understand or resonate with why something is happening in Korea. And if you could expand that to maybe think that it's just all relational.
Yeah. I don't know if I got there.
Everything just things both things exist in both societies.
Yeah, okay.
It's just in a different degree, I think.
That for sure I agree with.
Yeah.
But clearly there are very strong patterns and leanings,
Yeah.
right, in the different cultures. So I think I don't know if the core thing is individuality. I don't think it is, actually. I think the core thing is status and hierarchy is what brings this all together in my mind.
Okay.
I know maybe we don't have time to expand on that, but I actually think the core thing that drives a lot of the competitiveness, the feeling of unsafety, the desire to keep things small,
Yeah.
I believe if I had to just pick one, of course it's a broad range of factors, it's the fact that Korean society and language and everything is very status and hierarchical. Whereas I don't think that's as true in America. Of course those exist, but yeah, it's like the ability to interact and desire to have social connections across different statuses and hierarchies. It's just more, fundamental in American society is my thinking. Okay. All right. We tried to land the plane. I'm not sure if it did. Okay. That's it for today's episode. As always, if you'd like to support the pod, the best thing you can do is share us with a friend or colleague, someone in your community that might be interested in listening to us. If you want to go further, you can support us on Patreon. For the low cost of $1 a month, you can join our Discord, interact with other members and fans, discuss the latest episode, and suggest future episode topics. Since last recording, we have 2 new Patreons. Thank you first to Jin. Thank you, Jin. And thank you to Junhyuk. Thank you, Junhyuk.
Thank you, Junhyuk.
All right, with that, that's all for this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good. Sorry, I don't know if this was a good or bad episode, but it certainly was something.
I think your stance was different compared to other episodes.
Yeah, because
I think it's very personal to you.
That's very personal to me.
I felt that
Combative.
Not combative at all, but very frustrated.
Frustrated.
But I couldn't understand that because most of the time we're just observing and trying to, exchange each other's view, and so understanding. That's
very
how,
personal.
But you wanted to
I want to understand
because
deeply.
a part of you, I think, came out where you want to change how Korean society is kind of.
I know that's impossible. I know I can never change
But
Korean
it kind of
society.
but I think part of your frustration came from there. Cuz like in my mind it's like, oh, that's how it is, right? Like why are you so frustrated? Yeah.
No, I think what it is I know I'm not going to change anything,
Yeah.
but I think at least if I understand it, I can be more accepting of it, if that
Uh
makes sense.
yeah.
And in this case, I still don't understand. Maybe I don't understand the positives in the Korean social mindset. And so for me, it's so hard to understand, like, let's just be more friendly at a default level.
But
It's
I
so
mean,
hard for me.
but if I want to play devil's advocate,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can say the same for the US. Like, why are you so obsessed about? This is not my personal.
No, I know,
point of
I
view, but,
know.
like, a Korean might say, "Why are you so obsessed about
Strangers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I really value that default nature.
Yeah,
where-
so it's a different value system. I think.
I agree.
Are you shocked?
No, no, not about that.
Yeah.
It's just I'm a little bit shocked, right? Because sometimes I think of you, June, as like American,
Yeah.
but then I forget you're like a 2 on the Korean scale.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, again, to be clear, I'm like trying to exaggerate the more Korean side of me.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your role here.
Mm.
It's your persona on this podcast.
Yeah.